blogger extraordinaire of a terrific blog, pointsandfigures.com, an extremely provocative and entertaining read. He's co-founder of the Hyde Park Angels Investment Group in Chicago and board member of the National World War II Museum down in New Orleans. Jeff,
welcome.
Let's see if I can get Jeff on the line. Jeff, good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? And how's Chicago today?
Dark.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, we haven't quite got the light here yet either. But
yeah, I don't know how I'm going to follow this. I'm going to talk about finance after a Christian piece. You know, well, it's like finance is really the book of Job right now. I think.
Yeah.
Well said. You know, are we talking about unemployment numbers today?
We can talk about unemployment numbers if you want. Sure. Of course, everybody knows that we didn't add as many jobs as we wanted to. I think that the real important thing going forward is the economy needs to add about somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 350,000 jobs a month to maintain full employment. And we're obviously well below that right now. And so yesterday in the testimony that Bernanke gave to Congress, he said a lot of interesting things about that. So
when it comes to the unemployment numbers, and you and I have talked about this once or twice, there are the numbers that come out, and we all see them every month in the headlines.
Right.
What are the one or two that are of most interest to you?
I look at hourly wages to see what they're doing. You know, the stats within the stats, and I look at hours worked, and they've been pretty flat over the past year or two. And the reason I look at that is, you know, everybody talks about inflation, and we're going to have this rampant inflation, and we will. It's just a question of when. And the hours worked and the hourly wages are what's going to drive that. So as the rate drops down, as wages go up, and hours work go up, then we're going to have inflation because you're going to have more dollars out in the marketplace chasing too few goods.
When, in recent weeks, we've had numbers that at least have been, they've appeared positive. Retail numbers look positive. Right. The unemployment numbers look positive for several months in a row. People are hearing about companies taking profits for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, and if you're like me, you like to look at headlines only and skip past the details. So this is why I need guys like you in my life.
So, I read your blog each and every day. Pointsandfigures.com is extraordinary for our listeners. You must check it out. But it's not only informative, and he doesn't just talk about boring financial numbers. He also has some great entertaining pieces on there from culture. But when we see these, I've seen your blog recently, and are you the post-Christmas Grinch here, or do you have any hope in some of these numbers? Because I've seen you say you're not as hopeful as the headlines.
Yeah, I don't know. I think 2011 is going to be an interesting year. If you look at statistics and you go back to 18 presidencies, the third year of a president's term is always positive financially. So Obama's got that going for him. The one thing that's sort of interesting to me is they took so long to ratify the extension of current tax policy that companies responded to that behavior during the year. And I think in the third quarter and for sure the fourth quarter earnings, they recognized revenue early that they would have normally pushed to out years to take advantage of what they were going to perceive as lower tax rates because you had a big tax increase coming in January. That being said, it'll be interesting to see how companies perform sort of in the middle of the year based on if they indeed recognize revenue early. So they've got a higher bar, I think, to cross. So there's a lot of economic headwinds that we still have to work through despite all the sort of positive news. I mean, Europe is in trouble. You look at a state like Illinois and California, you're going to have metropolitan defaults this year that we haven't had to deal with. And Bernanke yesterday said, the Fed's not going to bail you guys out. So
tell me, Jeff, for literally for everyday families.
Yeah.
when they hear about metropolitan defaults, they hear about California is going to go broke, or
Right.
Are you talking about metropolitan? Are you talking about Chicago? Are you talking about Springfield?
Yeah, I think Chicago's in desperate financial shape, and so is the state of Illinois. I mean, if you look at the state of Illinois, they have pension liabilities of like $150 billion that are unfunded, and that's why. I mean, accounting is a very boring course, but it's one that everybody should take in a microeconomics course. Because what the state of Illinois has done is they've assumed going forward they're going to make 8% on their investments. Well, they're only making 4%. So that kind of throws your financial projections out of whack. And then the unfunded liabilities, 10, 20 years out that they have to pay, they discount it back using present value tables with a very high rate of interest, which understates the amount that they have to budget for today. So,
and when it comes down to, Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Main Street, how will they be impacted by that?
Well, I think the thing that you're going to see is services cut. So maybe
snowplows aren't getting through.
Well, snowplows will probably, that's kind of an essential service in the northern states, but maybe not so much in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But if you drive through California now, there's no rest areas. They just can't afford to keep them open. So you're going to start to see things like that.
Okay.
And that's how it's going to affect people. So it's basic city services that they sort of have come to rely on every day. That's going to go out the window. So I think you'll see it in more,
right.
Like maybe if the state is supporting child care programs or something like that, those might go away. Or who knows? It just depends on where the legislatures want to cut. But
right.
They're definitely going to have to cut. So,
well, Jeffrey, if it were up to me, we'd talk for another 2 hours.
Sure.
I love talking about this stuff. I appreciate you joining us on the round table each week. What are we looking for this week in the headlines? Anything important coming up?
Well, I think there's a lot of data this week. I think it'll be interesting to see just how the market kind of reacts to the unemployment report going forward. We were down yesterday. The market is, barely up on the year. It's still an early year. The interesting thing to me is I'm going to watch volume this week because volume has really dropped off. And without the actual retail customer participating in the marketplace, it's going to tread water for a while. So I think all the pros are waiting to see. There's so many sort of variables. They're waiting to see what's going to happen with a lot of different things, and then they're going to act. And I think at the end of the year, the market, if I was going to be a prognosticator, market was up, double digits last year. I think it's going to be up around 6% this year.
Okay,
which is not bad.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll take it.
Yeah. That's real money for people.
But yeah, actually, it is good money for people, and I think statistically, the mean average over the course of time is about 8%. On the S&P, and I think, we had obviously in 08, we had a little rough patch there, but in 09 and 10, we were up above that average, and so this year I think we'll be up, but probably below that average.
All right. Well, we'll hold you to that, and
okay.
we will see you in.
Yeah. I wrote it down, Jeff. I just want you to know.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good thing you're going to be with us every week. I'll be checking on that.
We're gonna move along, and we appreciate it.
They got them in Chicago. You guys got to come around the lake to get me.
Yeah. All right, Jeffrey. We'll talk to you in 7 days.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye.